Navalny is he's a CIA asset, and his various organizations, have been funded by the National Endowment for Democracy. Similarly, Vox Ukraine is a National Endowment for Democracy funded organization, think tank, and they came out with this network of Russian propaganda, what connects Western quote-unquote experts promoting narratives beneficial to Russia. And I just wanted to show the audience this. So this is the network of pro-Russian disinformation in the West, and you see a lot of very prominent people. You might recognize a couple of them. There I am. And then Scott, I believe, where are you, Scott? I can't see you. You're definitely
I'm at the very top, right next to
You're at the top. You're number one. You're in red.
I'm evil. I'm evil.
You're not
baby.
only in red, you have, look at these lines, and for me, I have lines everywhere to Ray McGovern, to Pepe Escobar. They obviously did a brief look at my channel. So this is information warfare. And I wanted your reaction just to this real quick while I sift through these questions, because for me, this is what I feel like always intensifies when the United States, when NATO, when the neocons, when they have trouble in basically every single other area, they latch on to information warfare in order to redirect, misdirect from their failures. But your take, Scott.
Well, it's interesting because you were talking about Julian Assange and freedom of speech. There's different ways to suppress freedom of speech. In America, we like to say, oh, there's freedom of speech. Well, there is, but there isn't. For instance, I've been kicked off of Twitter more times than I care to count. I'm currently on Twitter right now, or X, but I could say something, tweet something, and the powers to be decide that I'm no longer there. YouTube demonetized us. My channel. We're still not monetized. We don't know why. It is what it is. At least they haven't totally banned me, taken me off, but that could happen. That's why we went over to Rumble, to have a backup plan and all that kind of stuff. There's no free speech in America. You pay a price no matter what. They intimidate you, etc. But when it comes to Ukraine, first of all, there's something called the Mirotvorets list, peacekeepers list. It's real. It's a hit list, meaning that the people on the list are marked for death, literal death, and they kill people. Daria Dugina, they killed the Russian blogger
Tatarsky. Was that
yes, Tatarsky? Tatarsky. They have a whole bunch of kids on the list, children from Donetsk and Lugansk, who have spoken out against the Ukrainians. So they put kids on the list, and they put their names, their faces, their addresses, and they want to kill them. It's a real deal. It's so real that every time I travel to Russia, we have to be aware of that. Before I went to Russia, a Ukrainian hit team went and killed a Ukrainian politician who had gone over to the Russians. They tracked him down, popped him with silenced pistol, killed him. And so it's something you have to be aware of. It's real. That has a chilling effect. I mean, for somebody like me who's dumber than dirt, it doesn't matter because I'm not going to scare. But for other people, they might say, I don't want to die for this cause because it's not and so they'll stop talking, or they'll modify their speech, or they won't go to Russia when they might have otherwise have gone to Russia. So they're denied the opportunity to educate themselves. But then, then there's this thing called the Center for Countering Disinformation. Now, the Center for Countering Disinformation came into being right after the special military operation began, I think around April of 2022. It's funded by the United States government. In fact, it's the brainchild of the United States State Department. They got together the Ukrainians with the Office of the President, Zelensky's people, and they created this thing. They were at the initial organizing meeting. They're there. They're providing the money. U.S. taxpayer money is going to do this. And one of the first things that the Center for Countering Disinformation does is publish a blacklist of people who are saying things that the Ukrainians don't want them to say. Now, this is an American-funded blacklist. That's U.S. taxpayer money going through the United States government, going to Ukraine, creating this organization to publish a blacklist of Americans. And then my name features prominently in this. By the way, the Center for Countering Disinformation then later on went into their daily Russian propagandist of the day. And I have set the record for being the guy who has won more Russian propagandist of the day awards, meaning that they single me out and say he's the most evil man on the planet. You can laugh about it. I'll get to you why it's not funny. Then I also win the propagandist of the week and the propagandist of the month. There's a reason why I'm at the top of that list. They don't like me. That's okay. I don't like them either. But then they turn around, and this is again with U.S. taxpayer money in a meeting where you have State Department people from the FBI there. They say that the people on this list are information terrorists. And we want laws to be written so that information terrorists are treated like real terrorists, right, and are subjected to all of the penalties so that we can hunt them down and we can kill them. That the penalty for what you're doing, information terrorism, is death. And they've passed the laws. And the U.S. government's going, we're going to fund this. Now, I'm not the only American on these lists. Others are too. You're now on it, Danny. You're marked for death by the U.S. government, who's put a hit out on you because it's U.S. money that's funding this. And now there's a new list that has come out. This one's attached to the Ukrainian intelligence service, and it's another hit list. I feature prominently in that one as well. I don't know if you've made that one yet, but these are kill lists, meaning that the penalty for speaking out is death. And it's not fake. Again, I don't want to exaggerate and I don't want to say it up, but I can say that back in May, there was moments when we had to alter what I was doing because the intelligence suggested that the Ukrainians were putting teams in place to do bad things to me. And on this trip also, we were worried about that in Sevastopol and going into the new territories. We had to be careful. I had to stay in a safe house. I had to move constantly because the Ukrainians had teams out looking for me so they could find me, fix me, and then finish me with artillery. For the crime of speaking, that's it. Speaking is a crime. Now, there are people out there, and I know this when I read the chats that I'm not supposed to read, that people don't like what I say. I support your ability not to agree with me. I think it's great that you disagree with me because there's a couple things. One, I mean, either you're never going to agree because your job isn't to agree, your job is just to be negative, then you don't matter. But let's say you're truly a thinking person and you don't agree with me. It means I'm not doing my job right. It means that I have to do a better job of articulating my point of view to win you over. I have to get my facts right. For whatever reason that you don't agree with me, I need to do a better job. We need to have a discussion, a dialogue.